Hey, it's Rhonda Kinard, the founder of alifeignited.com. I'm a mom, a wife of two, an author, speaker, and your Ignited Life Coach. At A Life Ignited, we are an information for transformation-based business. We inspire and motivate others to get out of their ruts, reconnect their passion to their purpose, and thrive in life. We teach people how to ignite that inner fuse, set good goals, and actually achieve them so that they can walk in purpose and prosperity as they experience greater success, fulfillment, and satisfaction in life. And I'm here today to remind you to know your worth. I'm going to share a quick story with you. Just this past week, my husband, if you know me and you've heard me talk about this before, you know that one of our businesses is a contracting company. And he had someone call him this week and have him come out to look at some fire damage at a property they own. So while he was out there and, messing around and kind of surveying the property and looking at things, there was like this jumper cable box and it was totally charred and like burnt up. And so he looks at it, he looks a little closer, he tells another gentleman who's there, he's like, look at that. I think that's money. There's money on there. That's burnt up money. So the guy looks a little harder and he's like, oh my gosh, that is money. Yeah, but it's all burnt up. Nobody wants that. Now, just in case you think I'm making up this story about burnt money. Okay, let me get close. See? This is a $20 bill. This is some of the remnants of what was left from that burnt up money. And this is one of the better pieces, I might add. So it was 20s, 10s, a couple of ones, and they were folded in half. You know how you fold your money? Well, men, they fold their money and then they put it in a money clip. It was kind of like that, but it was all burnt up. It was black and charred and everything. So my husband tells the guy, look what we found. And the guy's like, we didn't find anything. Ew, that's not even worth anything. So if you know my husband, he's like, no, I'm not going to stand for it. It's not worth anything. It's money. So he puts on gloves, he puts it in a plastic bag, and he takes the money, brings it home, and he's telling me this story. Look, babe, I found this money. It's all burnt up. And I'm kind of like the guy. I'm like, it's burnt up, dude. It's no good. And he's like, nah, I beg to differ. So he gets on the phone, he calls Mike, who's our banker, and he says, Mike, listen, I was in this property, came across some 20s and 10s and 1s. They're all burnt up though. Is this money any good? Well, the banker says, actually, if money is damaged, but it's 50% recognizable, it's still worth whatever the face value is. So my husband's like, I'm on my way. So he goes down to our local bank, and sure enough, it still held its value. The $20 bills were worth $20. The $10 bills were worth $10. And so he had to give them the charred bills, the dirty, charred, blackened bills, and he got nice, crisp bills in their place. And so he came home, and then of course he called the other guy, and we didn't hear the end of it, right? But I just found it so fascinating that something burnt up, charred up. I mean, like, I'm not making it up. You see this, right? Look, like, this is what it looked like. Some of it was torn in half. It was all burnt up, but it still held its value. And so in this video, I want to remind you that sometimes you go through some things and you barely recognize yourself, and you beat yourself up about the things you've gone through and what you've done, because maybe in some cases you knew better. You just did some foolish things. You fell off the wagon. You went temporarily insane. You lost your mind for a minute, and then you come out of that battered, bruised, blackened, charred, in pieces, right? But what I want you to understand is that you are still worth everything. You are still worth your face value. Don't ever think that because you went through something that it diminished who you are. You may feel, hurt. You may feel ashamed. You may feel guilty, but you are still priceless, and no one can take that away. And I know from personal experience, when you go through things and people can see that you done been through some stuff, right? Because it's very recognizable that you messed up something. People will make you feel like how you look, right? But you have to know that despite what you look like, you passed through a storm, you passed through a test, you passed through some adversity. but you came out on the other side, and you can be renewed and revived from that. Your self-value is not tied into what you look like, what it looks like, or what other people think your value is worth. It's funny because me and the other guy, right? We were like, we don't want no parts of that. That's worthless. My husband goes to the bank and he finds out, no, actually, it's not worthless. It's actually worth what it says it's worth. And so as you go through challenges and people treat you certain ways because they know your story, you know, when people know your story, they will tend to beat you up about it, right? And that's difficult to deal with. And then sometimes you start to question, what's my value? What am I worth? You know, you start deducting, right? Because you start feeding into what others say about you, and you start feeding into how you feel based on how you look. But I want to remind you today to know your self-worth. Your self-worth is a culmination of everything that makes you uniquely brilliant and smart and flawed and beautiful. It's a culmination of your strengths, your weaknesses, everything that makes you important in the world. Okay? And I've already said to you in other videos, there is a divine calling on your life. There are bigger and better things you have been called to do. That's why you watch That's why you watch these types of videos. You're not just looking at me. You're looking at motivational videos. You're looking at things to inspire you. You're seeing people that are doing what you're doing, and you're trying to get a message from them on how they are doing what they did so that you can get started. There's a reason you're watching this video today, and it's not for entertainment purposes. You know there's a divine calling on your life. And so you have to always understand that in life, you're going to mess up some things. You're going to fall down sometimes. Who hasn't? I have been muddy. Let me tell you, this face has fell in the mud face first, okay? And I have looked like this on many of occasions. But because I did not diminish my self-value, what I know myself to be worth, I could get up, pick up the pieces, literally pick up the pieces and keep going. So today, as you continue with your journey and things are tough, maybe you have a goal and you're like, oh my gosh, I keep falling off of it. Then you start telling yourselves lies, right? Well, maybe that's not for me anyway. I'm supposed to be this way. You know, money's the root of all evil, right? That's what we start telling ourselves when we start to think of ourselves lower, 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 because we start to feel like we can't rise to the occasion. We start to think that our self-value has been diminished because of the things we've gone through. So my friend, my brother, my sister, I'm here to tell you, know your self-worth. And no matter what you've been through, no matter what it looks like right now, no matter who looked at you on the ground and said, that's a nobody, that's nothing, it's not worth anything, somebody is waiting for you to get up, walk in your full purpose, know your self-value and your self-worth so that you can bless the world with your gifts. Some child needs you. Some woman needs you. Some man needs your message. Some corporation needs your message. Some family member needs you. But the world needs your gifts, your talents, and the brilliance that only you can bring the way you can bring it like no one else. So no matter what, no matter how it looks, don't pay me and that crazy worker no mind. Don't pay people like us who don't understand your true value. We don't define who you are. We can't take away or add to your self-value. No one can make you feel inferior without your permission. Walk in your purpose. Be bold. Be ignited. Know your self-worth.